Once there was only fire and ice, until fire melted the ice and a drop of water into the nothingness between them gave birth to two beings, the mighty giant Ymir and the equally as mighty cow Odin, each so powerful and so full of life that Ymir's sweat alone gave birth to an entire race of male and female giants that would become known as the Jötnar, while the cow Odin licked an ice rock into the shape of the first god Buri. And what do you do when you're a lone male god surrounded with all this Jötnar thickness? Exactly. You bust open a can of nuts.
Yeah, boy.
So Buri got it on with a giantess, and out of their union, Bor was born. Bor then inherited his dad's fetish for thick Jötnar chicas, so he himself also had 3 children with the Jötnar Bestia. Those children were Vili, Ve, and Odin. The 3 brothers were 50% god, 50% Jötnar, but 100% bored in this nothingness they lived in. So Odin came up with an idea. Hey, bros, how about we slaughter our great-great-grandfather Ymir, and then we drown the entire family in his blood, and then we mutilate his body to build the 9 realms out of his bones. And his brother said, I love it. That's a great idea. Let's do it. And so the 3 brothers then killed the giant Ymir and slit his body wide open so that his endless blood spilled out to drown all life that existed until only the 3 prepared brothers were left alive, overlooking the sea of blood from Ymir's corpse. With the first matricide, patricide, grandfather side, every side behind them, the brothers then got their Bob the Builder on. They took apart Ymir's corpse, and from his flesh they made the earth. From his blood they made the oceans, the rivers, the lakes. His bones became mountains, his teeth were rocks and pebbles, his skull the sky, and his brain the clouds. Then they created 9 realms in this newly formed cosmos. Asgard became the realm of the gods, which is what humble Odin and his brothers decided to call themselves. It would be the realm that rules over all others, and of course Don Dada Odin decided that he would sit in the throne. Then there was Vanaheim, the home of all the gods who didn't agree with Don Dada Odin and his penchant for splendor and authority. These gods called themselves the Vanir, and they were more about living as one with nature, good energy and vibes, the type. Out of Ymir's rotten corpse, maggots emerged that took the shape of elves, dark elves, and light elves. The light elves took to Alfheim as their home, while the dark elves never emerged from the underground and lived in the underground realm Svartalfheim, where they shed their elvish traits and became known as the dwarfs. Then there were the 2 OG realms of ice and fire from the beginning, known as Muspelheim and Niflheim. Niflheim. That just shows you where my where my heart truly is at. Niflheim, man, that's my next vacation. And beneath all these realms was Helheim, the underworld, home of the dead. Then, of course, there's the one realm you are very familiar with, Midgard, our world, surrounded by the eyelashes of Ymir that form a wall to protect our realm from the others, a protection granted by Odin, who ruled over all, but seems to have taken a particular interest in Midgard, which he decided to populate with humans, beings he and his brothers carved out of a magical wood, with the first ones being Ask and Embla, the 2 horniest, the most fertile people to ever live, because they didn't need any reason to get it on to populate Midgard. Everything set them off, and thus Odin had built the cosmos. But there was one oversight he hadn't accounted for. 2 of the giant Jötnar, the first beings born from Ymir, 2 of them survived Odin's genocide. Bergelmir and his wife. They had hid in a wooden crate and sailed the oceans until they arrived in an unpopulated realm they made their own, Jötunheim. Now home of the giants, the Jötnar, who would forever oppose Odin and swore to make him pay for his sins. But the wrath of the Jötnar, Odin's rule, the tales of humanity, and everything else going on in the 9 realms. These are stories for other episodes of Keeping Up with the Norse Gods.